Here's a nice story. 4 years ago, Trump's immigration policy tore this family apart, and now they're finally reunited. Nery Ortega Lima, a 47-year-old Guatemalan man living in Rhode Island, and his wife Lilian Yanes, 44, and their 3 youngest children were reunited just a few months ago for the first time in 4 years after being separated by Donald Trump's zero-tolerance policy at the U.S. Mexico border. In 2018, Ortega Lima and his teenage son, Nery Jr., left Lilian and the 2 other children and trekked from Guatemala to escape the gang violence in their village. Nery Jr. was 14, but at only 13, a gang started threatening to kill him unless he joined the group. This left the family terrified. After a harrowing journey across Mexico, including being crammed by smugglers into a suffocating tractor-trailer with other frightened migrants for a long journey with no food, water, or even a toilet, Nery Jr. and his father crossed into El Paso, Texas, and were quickly apprehended by Border Patrol. Ortega Lima told The Guardian he and Nery Jr. were detained with more than a dozen families. He recalled a very mean lady coming into the room and yelling, "You're all being deported!" explaining Trump's zero-tolerance policy that criminalized unauthorized border crossings, jailed adults, separated them from their children or babies. The father only had a few moments to say goodbye to his son. Ortega Lima was then jailed, left his child within minutes, chained by hand, chained at the foot, and unable to find out for 10 days what happened to his son, Nery Jr. Nery Jr., unbeknownst to his father, was taken to a shelter in New York City, 2,000 miles away from the Texas border. In a very crowded, freezing cell, the father was deported. Nery was in the icebox, and he was deported, leaving Nery Jr. in the shelter 2,000 miles away in New York City. 4 months, this child stayed in the shelter in New York City, and finally, his older sister, an adult who was then married to a U.S. citizen, who lived in Rhode Island, 4 months later found out where her brother was after searching for 4 months and got him out of the shelter and took her 13-year-old brother with her to Rhode Island. In September 2018, Ortega Lima, he's the father, was offered a chance to make an asylum request at the border with the nonprofit Otro Lado, which translates to the other side, or Al Otro Lado. After a long process, he was approved for entry into the United States with the other parents who had been separated from their children under the Trump administration. Nery Jr. and his father, Ortega Lima, remembered April 14, 2019 as one of the best days of their lives when they were finally reunited. The teenager came home after classes at one of Rhode Island's public school newcomer programs, not knowing his father was waiting there to surprise him. In 2021, the new administration of Joe Biden established a family reunification task force after more than 3,900 children were separated from their families between January 2017 and January 2021. The task force partnered with nonprofits like Al Otro Lado to reach out to families in Central America and help them reunite in the United States. Advocates implored the authorities to allow husband and wife, their other teenage son, Douglas, 13, and Layla, 9, to be reunited in America. Douglas made it in first, and finally, in January of this year, Yanes and Layla boarded a plane to Boston. Yanes is exploring English classes and waiting for her work permit. Nery Jr. had dropped out of class to work at a car wash to pay the bills, while Ortega Lima initially suffered from vertigo. Doctors suggested his vertigo was caused by stress of the separation. He improved with treatment and is working in construction now, while Nery Jr. is still at the car wash every day. 9-year-old Layla is already dreaming about being a nurse. Nery Jr. wants to save up to buy himself a Dodge Charger someday. Their asylum cases are pending. Yanes says she's just grateful she can cook her Guatemalan pescado seco fish for the family again. She noted earnestly that the U.S. is a hard country to get into. Thanks for watching. For more Brad Show Live, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.